تفضل شيء يوسف.
Actually, there was I was in a message today, twice in a row. The imam actually, when he stood at the podium, he mentioned that I don't know if you heard it, but he mentioned that this guy had a PhD on Islam Sharia, and then he went on the air and he said that if someone has illegal sexual intercourse but uses condom, that is not Islamically zina. So Sharia wise, I don't know what does Islam say that.
The question says that there was a doctor, someone who bears the highest level of academic education, yani formal, being accredited, that he got on the air radio program that someone has sexual intercourse using a condom, then it is not Islamic zina. It's not considered zina. Is this correct? So on and so forth. We say is that we feel and we believe that that is totally incorrect. 101%. That's wrong from so many different aspects and avenues. Everybody understand this? And perhaps this doctor, we say perhaps, he's confused and he's mixing another issue with this issue with regards to vaginal sexual intercourse or anal sexual intercourse or unprotected sex with regards to ghusl, with regards to a had punishment, so on and so forth. Perhaps he's confused and he's at fault at any of the two scenarios. As they say, the sweeter of the two is what? Still bitter. The sweeter of the two is what? It's still bitter. Because if he's confused and if he isn't thoroughly grounded, no matter what degree he has, if he doesn't know what he's talking about, if he's tired or angry or upset or he wasn't prepared for the show, he shouldn't be speaking. And it's mandatory to keep silent if you have nothing good to say, as the Prophet ﷺ has told us. And what better could there be? What is better to be said than the ruling of Allah and His Rasul? And what is worse to be said than misquoting the ruling of Allah and His Rasul? So therefore, a zina is for a man, as is explained in the classical books of the fuqaha, is to insert the tip of his penis into a woman's vagina. That is the definition of what? A zina. The act that has specific sets of rules, being flogged, being banished, being stoned to death, person's testimony being rejected, etc. That is the actual hardcore zina. A man kissing a woman touching a woman touching him, touching her, rubbing, grinding, feeling, this and that. It's haram. It is unlawful. It is prohibited based on the kitab, sunnah, and ijma'. But that is not the actual what? And this is what we mentioned about the video recorder. You may see a man on top of a woman, but it doesn't mean he's actually penetrated her. Everybody understand this? A woman may be on top of a man, it doesn't mean that she's actually what? Wahakadha. So therefore, if a man has sexual intercourse and he uses a condom, he has inserted his sexual organ into her sexual organ. And that's zina. Zina. Now, the fact that he had a condom, contraceptive, so on and so forth, are there other rulings, exceptions, details? It's a different story. That's a what? That's a different story. Such as the issue of a man entering a woman, a man penetrating a woman and not ejaculating. The Prophet ﷺ, he tells us that when a man enters a woman, he says, إِذَا جَلَسَ بَيْنَ شُعْبِهَا الْأَرْبَعِ حَدِيث أَبِي هُرَيْرَةَ in the Sahih, it states when he sits between her limbs, her legs, her thighs, ثُمَّ جَهَدَهَا, and he moves about vigorously, he commences intercourse, فَقَدْ وَجَبَ الْغُسْلُ, he must make ghusl. A variation of Muslim says, وَإِن لَمْ يُنزِلْ, even if he doesn't reach his what? Climax. So the sheer act of a man sticking, entering, placing his penis into a woman's vagina requires what? Ghusl. Even though he didn't what? Quote unquote, case may be, reach its climax. Everybody clear on this? So some of the fuqaha, they may say that if a man enters a woman and there is a ha'in, there is a barrier, there's something that prevents his skin and flesh touching her skin, her flesh, and the insides of her, and he doesn't reach climax, then he doesn't necessarily have to make a what? Ghusl. Not saying that it isn't zina. Everybody understand this? Not saying that it's not what? So that's a different story. It's a whole different what? Different story. Another concept is, if a man, waliyadu billah, has anal sex with a woman, is that the same ruling as zina? Oral sex, is that the same ruling as zina? Not necessarily. But it still is what? Haram. From so many aspects. Allah tells us to lower our gaze. You making zina, you're obviously not lowering your gaze. Talking about letting someone see in your awrah, except for your wife or your right hand possession. If this woman is not your wife, she's not your legal Islamic bondmaid, then it's what? Zina. And the list goes on, hadith after hadith, ayah after ayah, that clearly prove the impermissibility of sexual contact between a man and a woman, except for the boundaries of the Sharia. And those boundaries are wife, mulkul yamin, legal right hand possession through legal means. If she isn't your wife, if she isn't your right hand possession, then it goes back to the asl of what? Impermissibility. Tell the believing men, lower their gaze, protect their chastity. Everybody understands what Allah says those who protect their what? Furuj, their chastity, their private parts. إِلَّا عَلَى أَزْوَاجِهِمْ, except for their wives, أو ما ملكت أيمانهم فإنهم غير ملومين فمن ابتغى وراء ذلك فأولئك هم العادون. Allah says, except for their wives and that which their right hands possess. Anything beyond that, فَأُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْعَادُونَ, then they are the transgressors. Everybody understand this? Some of the ulama of Islam, they mention this ayah to be a proof for masturbation being haram. Now all of them, or some of them, say masturbation is haram because Allah mentioned two things and two things only with regards to sexual desires. Wife or right hand possession. And masturbation is neither of the two. Let alone a foreign woman, even with a what? Condom one. So that's wrong. Everybody understand this? This is in brief. That's incorrect based off the Kitab and Sunnah, let alone the Ijma'. There's no difference of opinion of any alim, any faqih of the four schools and others that a man cannot have sexual contact with a woman who is either of those two. That's it. Rather, there are restrictions on that. When a man can sleep with his wife or not. Can a man sleep with his wife when she's in an iddah or not? A slave. Can he have sex with a slave? Or does she have to be let alone someone who's totally what? Outside of that. So that's batil. The Prophet ﷺ tells us about the eyes making what? Zina. What else makes zina? What does the hadith tell us? Hands, feet, so on and so forth. Naam. Wal qalbu. He says in the heart, wishes and desires. يتمنى والفرج يصدق ذلك أو يكذبه أو كما قال عليه الصلاة. He says, and the final step is the private part. The private part is going to translate those thoughts and feelings into deeds or reject them. Everybody understand this? Everybody clear on this? A woman walks by, you think she's an attractive woman. You may have taken an extra gaze. You may touch her, while the other may walk towards her. But it's not, the final step is what? The private area. Everybody clear on this? So therefore, there are different types of zina, as the hadith really says. Looking is a type of zina. Touching is what? Type of zina. Everybody understand this? Wahakala. Let alone a man's actual private area entering into that woman's private area, condom or not. If the hand can make a type of zina by touching, feeling and fondling the woman, her neck, her breast, her behind, her stomach, her legs, her feet, her face, her hands, if that is a type of zina, then what do you think about a man? What? That makes no sense. That makes what? That makes no sense. Based on the Quran, as we quoted, hadith, we quoted, ijma'. This is batil. And that's Kevin. Perhaps he's confused. Or perhaps he's following some weird, bogus opinion that's in left field. That was unknown to the Salaf Salih, the Sahaba, and the great imams of Islam. So therefore, my advice to this doctor or anybody else, Allah knows best if you're hearing my words. I highly doubt it. Perhaps you will. Allah has the ability to do all things. And strength to fear Allah. Fear Allah. And let's say for argument's sake, it was permissible always. For argument's sake. Is this something you want to tell the people on a radio program in 2016? You can make zina as long as you wear a condom. Doesn't even make any sense. When zina is like what? Eating breakfast, unfortunately, in our society. Some people say breakfast all day. What the other billah? McDonald's, this is real. As we explained this before when we talk about the major sins, that zina is an integral part of every aspect of society. From the cartoons your child watches, Looney Tunes, Bugs Bunny, Pepe Le Pew, The Lover Boy. This is not the case. Zina. Everyone understand this? You got a cat in the alleyway. He gives the cat a bone. The female cat gives her what? A fish bone. This is a concept of what? Love, romance. They're not married at all. They're lovers. Cartoons, television, video game, comic books, storybooks, bedtime stories. Zina. You stop at the gas station, zina. You watch a boxing match. I just want to see the people box. I like boxing. What's in the middle of the rounds? Football game. Cheerleaders. Basketball game. Short skirts. Dancing, jumping, singing. Zina. It's a constant call. Alcohol, liquor. Everybody understand this? So it's unfortunate. So you live in a society when zina is like common thing. Nothing. It's not looked down upon. Rather, those who try to practice abstinence until they can get married, they may be accused of being things or looked at things. You like girls? You okay? Why are you not going to your prom? Why are you not going to your graduation? There's nothing wrong with having a girlfriend. There's nothing wrong with it. It's normal. Yeah, everybody understand this? It's sad. So go ahead and make zina as long as you wear a condom. What is that going to produce? Then on top of that, to make things even worse, when a person is making zina or wearing a condom, that's also going to eventually lead them to doing what? Making zina without the condom. Or you may be in a situation in which there's no condom and you want to make zina, then what? So that's just a musibah, Allah. That's a calamity. And this is a doctor, supposedly. Someone who has the highest rank of formal education in Islam. Saying that, go, you can do what you want with it as long as you strap up. I would say, it's good. You're all right. La ilaha la hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. Perhaps it's like Imam Malik said. He was asked one day about some people that were giving fatwas and rulings. He says these people should be locked up, they should be beaten, they should be treated like thieves. The hudud should be put on them. Worse than the actual thieves. But they're hijacking Islamic scholarship. How many people may listen to this one doctor on the radio? And there's more people worse than this. TV programs, internet, all over the world. But the Prophet, he told us this is how things will be. Is that people will take ignorant men as their leaders, they'll ask them things, they will be misled, and they'll mislead others. May Allah silence him, and as the brothers, the UK, the British brothers, and the American brothers who want to silence them, the likes, silence them and the likes of them. I mean.
If you ever go to Jersey City, this is an Arab desert actually. I don't know the street. But the Imam was so upset. He repeated it again, he was so upset. Maybe you can talk, he didn't say who the doctor was, but he said, this is Dr. Paul. He kept saying.
Allah understand. Allah help us.